Hi, I'm Alan, and this is Prayers to the Dice Gods. And today we're talking about the Disciples of Caliban. The Disciples of Caliban have an interesting paint scheme. It's primarily black and green, but it's done in sections on the armour, and I've gone for a slightly different take on black, just to help it fit in a bit better with the green. The Disciples of Caliban appear to have been created specifically to hunt down Cypher in M37. In their fleet base, they can maneuver around wherever there is a sighting of Cypher. Right, so with this one, we have started the same way as our other green models. So we've gone in with the Vallejo US Dark Green model colour as our base, and then over the top of that we've put in the Army Painter Angel Green. This is an easier base to cover than putting the green over the black. So we're doing black over green, so we've used the Corvus black to then pick out the sections that need doing, which are primarily the top half of the leg, the waist, and the feet, as well as the backpack. These are all done in black, and the trim around the shoulder pads. We've done 3 coats of Corvus black to make sure that none of the green is showing through. Now we're cracking out the lead belcher. We're covering all of the silver parts on the gun and any other bits that we want to cover, such as the belt buckle. Next up, we're doing the panel lining. We're doing this with a bit of Nuln oil, just going around finding the recesses, dropping it in there rather than coating the entire model. So as one of my favourite browns, we're cracking out the Rhinox hide to put the base coat onto all of the leather pouches around the model. Now here I make a horrible mistake. The gun casing is actually supposed to be black, but I painted it red, and god damn it, it just looks so much better with a red casing. I'm sorry, I'm a 90s 40k player. Red casings all the way. And just to cover the parchment on the casing on the gun, all we're doing is going over with a bit of off-white paint. Now the important bit, cracking out the Nuln oil, covering that gun casing and all of those silver parts just so that it picks out some of that beautiful detail. Right, you'll notice that we've done this one a little bit different from usual. We've done all of the green in our 2 favourite green highlights, Warboss green and Moot green. But what we're also doing is we're going to do the same colour highlights onto the black. Now the reason for doing this is the black will look quite stark against the green, and on this occasion I actually wanted them to kind of have a bit more in common. So I've decided to highlight with green instead of grey, and I quite like the outcome. Now, as usual, we've cracked out the lead belcher just to go over those top facing edges of the gun casing. We're then going to take out the rune fang steel, and then we're going to give that its final highlight. Now, as you've seen so far, the Disciples of Caliban are not the easiest paint scheme in the world to do, particularly for a beginner, because we're only using beginner techniques, so we're primarily focusing on the edge highlights here. We've got the green and the black. What I've done is I've broken this into a way where it makes it slightly easier for you as a beginner. But even then, you're going to find that it takes a lot more time than doing one standard colour across the whole model. If you've seen any of the other videos with red gun casing, you'll know that here we're going to use the Mephiston red just to go over the panels, leaving the Nuln Oil in the recesses. We're then going to go over to our Evil Sun Scarlet to do the first lot of highlights around the edge of every single panel. And then we're going to finish that up with our Wild Rider red just along the top edges of those panels. Now, if you've watched the other videos, you will know by now that this is our same workup that we've done on the rest of them. So we're going in with Mornfang Brown to do the first lot of highlights all the way around the leather pouches. We're going to put a couple of lines on some of them just to kind of represent a bit of wear and tear. We're then going to go to our XV88 just to do that final highlight on those and get those lines on there to look a little bit more worn. Now here we're going to put some Mephiston red into the lenses. We're then going to just take some white paint and stick a couple of dots, one on each side, just to give it a little bit of a representation of a light reflection. Now we're finishing up by painting the base with a bit of a Baden black, because this is going to end up in a display cabinet as opposed to on the table. But looking at it, you can tell that this thing is tabletop ready, is good to go. These guys certainly haven't been the fastest chapter to paint, especially not of the Dark Angel successor chapters. But I must say, when it's done, I quite like the finish. It looks quite good. From a distance, you can't quite tell if it's all green. Once you get up close, or once the lighting changes, you can actually see that that black is highlighted with the green. But either way, I quite enjoy the way they look. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you get all of the notifications as and when the new videos are released. The Dice Gods favour the painted army,